Jon, it's so good to see you, my friend. This is it's amazing to have you here. And this is Jon Zubeldia from Astobiza in Txakoli, so northern Spain. And it's a new world with trying to figure out how to navigate the waters of 2020. So thank you for joining me today, so we can talk about your wines and the winery and everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Bobby Band Imports. It's happy to be here with you. Thanks.
Great, great. So my thought is, what we'll do today is we'll talk about maybe the history of Astobiza. We'll talk about where you're situated. We'll talk about the wines. We'll taste some things. Everything we're talking about today is things that we have in stock for the most part. But if anyone wants to taste these wines, please let me know so that I can get you samples and you can check them out, or gin, olive oil, those kind of things, because this guy is the grand master of it all, and he does everything. So Jon, first off, let's talk about where you're located before we talk about the history of the winery. So I'm going to share some maps, but you can talk while I share where you're located.
Okay. So we are located in the north of Spain, in the Basque Country.
Yeah.
So we are quite close to the Mar Cantábrico, the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. So it's from the vineyard to Bilbao or to the sea, it's only like 11 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you're in the Arabako
Txakoli, in the northern part of the orange area of the Arabako Txakoli. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah. So the vineyard is all facing south. It's in a mountain called Ganekogorta. It's like 280 meters height from the sea level.
280 meters. And this is kind of a map to show it's a little south and west of Bilbao, but not so far, but up in the mountains, because as you get there, here's a beautiful picture of what it looks like from the winery looking out.
Yeah. So mainly it's Atlantic climate, but we also have microclimate in this valley, Ayala Valley, in which we have like plenty hours of sun, less rain, less water, and it develops like more bodied wines. No, it's something special which helps.
Yeah, with Alava, because a lot of people, when we think about Txakoli, we think of like Arabako, that kind of taller bottle, really, really fresh, high acidity, a little bit of spritz. But Arabako is a little bit different, and we can talk about that later. But so we know where you're situated now. Tell me, how did you come to be? What is the history of Astobiza?
So it's Xavier Abando, who is the owner. He started this project in 1996 because of his father and his grandfather. They used to do Txakoli in Bilbao, nearby. So he was like for 10, 15 years looking for the best, the top vineyard he could use to grow his grapes, his local or indigenous grapes. So for the first 12 years, it was only the viticulture doing here, and he was selling the grapes to another wineries. And once he decided to, like the quality was enough, no, for his expectative, he said, okay, I'm going to build a winery inside the vineyard. And then like started with his own brand, no? Like Astobiza, Señorío de Astobiza.
Right.
And that's his history. And mine was, I was working as a chef. I was working in many places for a few years.
This guy can cook. This guy can cook.
Yeah, so and it was 2007 when I had like 3 restaurants, 33 employees, and some people from Spain, from Catalonia. They were so interested in my company, and they bought everything, and they took good care of the employees and of the business. So I was free to start a new project, and I came here, and I don't know how to say, but on the first meeting with Xavier, we decided to do all this project on this way, with taking good care of the image of the branding.
Great.
With our motto, like a worldwide unique, trying to deliver the best, or they bring the best of these indigenous grapes to the world, and travel around. So nowadays, after 12 years, we're in 31 countries, and somehow we are happy. We will continue
It's fantastic.
Way of working.
It's fantastic, and Jon is truly one of the most lovely, humble men that I've ever met, and so ambitious. You have so many projects always working. We'll talk more about those, but from mustards to vermouth to gin to olive oil to everything, and with an incredible package, and really taking Txakoli to a new height and new level. I'm really very, very proud to represent your wines, and figure out like how to get more sales going for Astobiza, because what you're doing is amazing. So now, Jon, you do sales, you do everything. Are you technically the winemaker? Do you help in the winery a lot? Because talk about who's making wine.
Here is Ana Martin and
Ana Martin.
Pepe Hidalgo. Ana Martin mainly, yes. There are two winemakers which they work as consultants for a few wineries, always small wineries with indigenous grapes.
Okay.
And they're trying to develop the best of the local grapes.
Cool.
So they have succeeded in many wineries. I don't know in Spain how to say, like Pago los Capellanes or Guitian.
Sure. Yeah.
Wineries. Yeah.
Cool. And during harvest, are you working in the winery too? Are you there every day?
Yes, of course. The thing is that Ana Martin, she lives like, I don't know, 15 minutes from the winery.
Oh, great.
So she comes every week, and she also is in charge of the land. She comes and walks with friends the land, so she's watching day by day all the small plots. Yeah.
It's like a pet project almost, yeah.
That's it. And I come, if I'm not traveling, I come every day to help all my colleagues.
Cool.
Maybe bottling, maybe labeling, maybe
everything.
Doing the visits.
Everything.
Well, this is a small winery. We have to do
everything. Yeah.
That's it.
So how many hectares is the property?
This property is 10 hectares.
Okay.
And from the 10, it's only 7 of vineyard.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Then we have another 3-hectare property, quite close to this one, which is all with Onda Rabibelcha, like Cabernet Franc, where we do the rosé. We have also 4-hectare, another properties, like 3 small properties.
Okay.
And then we also work with some of the small vineyards around the valley.
Around the valley.
Like we have like an agreement for 10, 15 years where we work on the same line, same quality line.
Cool.
So in total, we can make like 40 hectares, like 40% of the DO.
Wow. Okay. Neat. I didn't realize that. So with the different areas, are the soils very different, or are they pretty much the same soil types?
They are pretty much the same. It's clay and limestone.
Clay and limestone.
So mainly it's limestone, like I don't know, first 1-2 meters, and then it changes into clay. Yeah. And I think the climate and the soil is mainly similar in this valley. In the Alava Valley, the microclimate is quite similar.
Got you. Okay.
Because
and with in comparison to say Arabako, right on the ocean, how much difference in rain for climate is there?
For them, it's more than double. So, for example, this year for us, we only have had like 400 liters, 400 millimeters, and they have had more than 1,000. So they have more than double water than here.
Wow.
And also comparing to Vizcaya.
Yeah.
They have lots of cloudy days. I live in Vizcaya, and lots of cloudy days, and here we have plenty of sun.
Plenty of sun. Interesting. So you kind of have nicer ripening opportunity, but still freshness.
That's it. We never take out the leaves, so we always leave all the leaves to protect the grapes.
Cool.
Otherwise, they will be high in color, like toasted and brown and high in color.
I see.
So we try to protect the grapes with the
that makes sense.
The leaves.
And how do you farm? Is like in the vineyards? Is it all you farm organically and?
Organically, yeah. No herbicides, and it's everything organically. It's all sustainable. We say like we work the tradition outside in the vineyards, and it's all about technology and cold and cleanness here inside the winery.
Gotcha.
So the two opposite. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Tradition outside, innovation and technology inside.
technology inside, because you do all of your work is in stainless steel.
Yeah, well, we have started in stainless steel, everything. And after 5-6 years, we said, okay, we have good acidity, low pH. Let's start to try aging the wines. And then we started on with cement.
With cement, yeah. In fact,
cement.
yeah, you started to work with some amazing concrete eggs, which is really cool. So, and you've noticed that because of your structure, because you have good acidity, that lower pH, but the longevity of your wines can be longer, and so you're experimenting with the Malkoa, and
that's it. So what we thought is we didn't want to give oaky notes on the wines at first, so we started with the cement vats with high acidity and low pH. We saw the potential of aging, and to give a structure, what we do is keep the wines inside the cement eggs for 2 years, so it have the lease of 2 vintages. Cool. You know, it's 2 years on the lease, but we lease from 2 different vintages.
Oh, interesting. That's for Malkoa.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Great.
So
wonderful.
We started using, like 2 years later, we started using French oak barrels, always new, medium toasted, but just for the late harvest.
For the late harvest wine, which we'll taste. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and taste. So current vintage, Astobiza Txakoli is 2019, and we have, this is what we carry in stock right now. Tell me about this. This is all Honda Rabizuri, but a little bit of Zuratier.
Yeah, it used to be like 90% Honda Rabizuri and 10% Serratier, which is quite similar. In France, they are known as Corbu Blanc or Petit Corbu.
Petit Corbu.
Yeah. Nowadays, like more than 90% is Honda Rabizuri. We say just one variety. Honda Rabizuri. So from this single estate, the Astobiza estate is divided into 7 small plots, which we harvest and vinify separately, and then we blend into Astobiza.
I love this wine. I think it's this is taking Txakoli to a different place in the market, I think. And luckily, I think in the States, Txakoli is becoming more and more known. It's the only funny word that Americans know how to pronounce. They're like, oh, Txakoli, yeah, TX, makes sense. No other crazy area do people know how to pronounce, but Txakoli they do, which is great. My mouth is dripping because the acidity is so delicious.
Yeah. But it's a balanced acidity. Some wines, no, that they have like a separate acidity from the bitterness or from the structure. So this is quite, I think, balanced and kind acidity, no?
Yeah. Do you find a lot of vintage to vintage variation, like differences between year from year?
We find some, but as I have told you, sometimes we think that it must be there, depending on the year, depending on the vintage. Sometimes you see in the rosés, sometimes you see in the wine. So we have like a line year by year with the Astobiza wines. No, that everybody know the character of the Astobiza wines. Yeah. But every vintage is different, and that's the magic of the wine. No, that we cannot repeat a wine.
Yeah, that's real wine. That's when you pay attention to what the earth is doing, and then just turn it into wine in the winery, which is wonderful. This wine is, for the traditional Guitarriaco Txakoli purists, it doesn't have the spritz. It has but it has so much wonderful acidity, but the body is different. The mouthfeel is different. You still have wonderful citrus and high, like appley, pear, green pear notes, but it really gastronomic. It's really built for food. Yeah. I mean, you're a food background.
So also the aftertasting, it's quite long and fresh and clean. Yeah, it's asking for fresh food, no? Yeah,
and it keeps going. Yeah, in fact, just to brag a little bit, every time we get to go visit Jon in Txakoli, he takes way too good of care of us. And so there's, last time we were there, I think he had one of the best paella makers in all of Spain come make us paella on the vineyard side. have percebes. This is my favorite seafood ever. They're little goose barnacles that are so good with Txakoli. It's absolutely perfect. Oh, and some sushi in the back too, because Jon loves doing sushi. We take boat rides and have sushi, or we have oysters. This wine is really built to exemplify kind of that saline quality in food or in seafood, in shellfish, and it's really well structured. I want more people to understand kind of this is such a different league of Txakoli. It's a really serious white wine. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
You're like, yeah, it is. So now
Nice.
tell me about the rosé, because I am obsessed with the new 2019 Rosado. What's going on here? It's 50-50 blend.
Yeah, it was a tradition on this valley to do rosé. It was called Ojo de Gallo.
Ojo de Gallo. Okay.
Yeah. So the tradition here was to do like a blend of red grapes and white grapes. In this case, it's 50% on the Arabi Belcha, Cabernet Franc, with 50% of on the Arabi Suri. Cool. So what we do here usually is we harvest all the red grapes. It's the last day of the harvesting, and we macerate. Sometimes we leave, you know that we have like a table selection. We do the table selection, and we have a cold exchanger. So sometimes we leave the grapes along the cold exchanger up to the macerator for one night, and in the morning we bring the rest of the red grapes and same quantity of white grapes. So it's a cold maceration of both and co-fermentation, co-fermentation of the both. And once it finishes the fermentation, we keep it in cold until we bottle. When we clarify, when we filter and everything, so you don't feel bubbles, you don't see, but some like.
Yeah, because there is almost a lively effervescence. What is that from?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
That's from the fermentation. Is a natural one. That's
just natural CO2 that's kind of trapped inside.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we bottle this like 3 months later, you don't find that. That's why we try to keep it in cold from the fermentation when we clarify and filter up to the bottling. Yeah. Trying to keep the natural.
The 2019 is outstanding. We brought in some magnums, and 1 6-pack of magnums went into my basement, because when you go to a party, what's better than a magnum of Txakoli rosé? It's so good. So co-fermented together. And tell me about, like, with the white and the red, are you do you fine and filter? Like, what does that look like? What are you using for fining product, and how do you filter?
For fining, we use like a green pea powder. So they are vegan. You say vegan?
All vegan, yeah.
Yeah, all vegan. So we can have, mostly we use the green pea powder, and we can also use the potato powder, which is good to clarify the wines, the vegan wines. Yeah. And then filtering, we have a micro filter at the end. Just the day we are bottling, same morning, it's just micro filtration to sterilize and then bottling.
Okay, great.
And we always vacuum before adding the cork. It's vacuumed, so the pressure inside
stays the same.
It's lower than the
Okay.
natural one. Yeah. So yeah, so nice. It can travel worldwide without problems.
It's perfect. Yeah, it reminds me, like, this is kind of, it has kind of like a white peach characteristic to it, and kind of like a tart raspberry character, all while being mouth-wateringly fresh. You know, it's really, really enjoyable. But so there's high acidity, but the fruit, it's not strawberries. It's not just kind of, you know, it's like, it's really, really kind of clean and more Provençal style of rosé versus a typical Spanish Rosado. Is that why you call it rosé and not Rosado?
Yeah, it's time to change it because it's very dry. You know, we have always tried to bring the fermentation till the end. So it's very dry, but it's very kind in the mouth. You don't feel that dryness. Being less than 1 gram.
It's less than 1 gram.
Sugar.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, let's call it rosé. It's our style of rosé.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is very gastronomic also. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the winemaking process, when do you use sulfites? Like before fermentation, after? Because you're like, where do your sulfite levels sit with this?
We only sulfite at the end
At the
if
end,
needed.
if needed. Okay, okay.
And only if needed. So yeah, we harvest and vinify separately all the plots.
Okay.
Then we do all the analytics, and if they are okay, what we try to do is bottle as soon as we can.
Cool.
And the rest just try to do the minimum quantity just to
As to keep it stable and keep it fresh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, it's our style, but I think it's succeeding, no? As you know.
Yeah.
Growing it, yeah.
So, I'm gonna do late harvest before the gin.
Okay.
So this is the late harvest Astobiza. Tell us about this.
So, in this area with the Atlantic weather, it's not easy to do a late harvest because of the hours of sun. It's not because of the sun. It's because we leave the grapes on the vines until December. So
Which
it's
is
the
wet.
vines. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the vines, the ones who take all the savia down to the roots, and they dehydrate the grapes. So the concentration of sugar is because of the winter, not because of the sun. So sometimes you get that color, sometimes the color, that's where it changes the most, the color, no?
Is the color,
vintage.
yeah. Because this is 2016.
16, okay.
And you are now moving to 2018, but we have a little bit of stock left of the 2016. And
yeah, we would like to have now like previous vintages, eh? So we would like now to drink like 2010 or 2009.
Right.
No?
A true late harvest
these
style.
wines are, you can age these up to 20 years or 25.
Wow.
We always use in all of our corks, we are using it's natural cork. We are using the 1-by-1 system. So you will never find TCA on these corks. So you can age them. You can age 10, 15, 20 years. You will never have TCA. It's certified. So that helps a lot.
It's such serious dessert wine. It's beautiful. So this is not Handravizuri.
No. This is because when we started doing this, we saw that there was already like 3 or 4 late harvests in the Txakoli world. All of them from Handravizuri.
Okay.
So as we had one of our plots with Iskiriota Aundia.
Iskiriota Aundia, okay.
Aundia. It's commonly known in France as Gros Mansen, Gros Mansen.
Yeah.
Jurançon, Sauterne. Yeah. So that's the grape. Yeah.
So like Jurançon.
Yeah, Jurançon style.
Yeah, Jurançon style. To me, and I don't mean to try to compare and poo-poo on any Jurançon, but this is better than any Jurançon I've had. It's the acidity is so good. Yeah, while being luscious and sweet and perfect. It's like Père Tartatin is built for this wine.
Yeah. And we say this is our most sustainable wine because every year we share the vintage with the wild boars. You say wild boars? Yeah.
Wild boar? Yeah.
Wild boar, they come from the mountain and they always eat like 20 or 30% of the harvest. So it's sustainably, the most sustainable of our wines.
Nice. I like it.
Share with the
so when you bring the late harvest grapes in, you press immediately?
Yeah, we do the table selection.
Table selection, okay.
Cold maceration, and we press.
And you
press. Immediately goes to fermentation, and we check day by day the density.
Okay.
So when it's going to reach the 12 degrees, we stop the fermentation with cold.
With cold, with temperature, okay.
Temperature, yeah, and then bring to the French oak barrels.
And then French oak barrels.
Medium toasted, yeah. So we never say like it's 6 months or 8 months. We check. After 4 months, we start checking, and when it's not looking for oaky notes, looking for structure and complexity. When we think it's ready, we bring to the bottle and leave 2 or 3 years.
Like it's dynamite. It's really, really cool.
It's very kind. It's like 2-step wine. It's very kind at first, and then it's fresh again. It's cleaning the mouth. Yeah.
Cool. Well, and real quick, just because you have it in the background there, will you grab the Malkoa?
Yep.
So, this is something kind of special order, but if this is of intrigue, we're talking, this is Grand Cru Txakoli right here, but Malkoa is really beautiful and we can maybe get some samples going, and this is absolutely dynamite Handrabizuri. It's really, really special stuff. So, cool.
Yeah, it was rated in Decanter magazine by the Master of Wine, Sarah Jane Evans.
Yeah.
So she tasted 80 Txakolis and she rated only 18 of them. And this was the top of the Txakoli world. Now with Peñin is 93 points. Wine Advocate is 92.
Wow.
And you know that the Court of Master of Wine for next year, 2021, they choose this wine for all the students. When you apply
really?
For
that's cool.
It's one of the Spanish wines they will use. So it's something special to do.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, so as you're doing this, that's all in concrete egg, you're doing these different projects. So you have olive oil. Is this on the property as well, the olive trees?
No. We wanted to do in our property, but we didn't have enough land and there's not much olive trees around. So that's from when I was a chef. I had lots of friends in south of Spain, in Jaén, Andalusia. And one of my friends, he had this small family estate doing like 300 years old olive trees.
Olive trees.
It's not like in the wine, this is quite older, yeah. And what they do is that they crush all the olives with with the seed and everything.
Yeah.
They crush everything and then they centrifugate.
Really?
So it's very aromatic. You have everything.
It's so aromatic. I love this. This is actually, I cook with this too much. I finish everything, but I also use it for all of my food because I love it. It's
good
really,
to save in a wine glass and
just taste. Yeah. Wow. And then you got into the gin world. This is cool. And actually, whoa, I'm making noise over here. This is his presentation. Obviously you've seen the labels. The labels are all fantastic, but this is how the gin comes in these beautiful tubes. And I think, I still have an old school bottle here. It comes with this lovely presentation, how things are made. And I've got an old labeled bottle. Is yours labeled?
Yes, but what we are using, you are using like 75 centiliters, and here in Spain we use 70.
Okay, and you have it's not a label.
70 is painted and 75 is labeled for you or for Puerto Rico or for Canada. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, but it's changed, yeah.
Very good.
Inside.
So tell me about the gin. You use things from the vineyard for this gin, and the company you work with is called the Basque Moonshiners, which I think is the greatest name ever.
So on our project, we said we wanted to give more value to the state. So we were trying to do a distillation of something from the vineyard. At first, we were not thinking on a gin, just to distillate something. But at the end, we decided to do like 3 distillations of barley, the local barley from the valley, the cereal. So we do 3 distillations of barley, and in the 4th distillation, we have all the botanicals from the vineyard. So the tendrils, leaves, flowers, grapes, with some Txakoli and some of the fermentation aroma that we distillate during the harvesting. So yeah, it's something special with the character of the estate. And the good thing is that on January, we went to the World Gin Awards, to the final, and it won the best Spanish London dry gin and one of the top 20 gins in the world.
In the world?
In the world, yeah.
So top 20 gins in the world.
This is
best London dry Spanish gin.
Yeah. Also in Canada, this year was among the top 12 gins in Canada on March.
Wow.
So it's something, and the good thing is that you can find it in, Look Bombi Bant imports.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. But it's now number 1 in Japan, and it's in many places like Thailand, Australia, or this is something special.
That's awesome.
The good thing is that it's quite related to the style of wines with the character of these wines. Mm-hmm.
You know, I find this gin more floral, more aromatic than say just juniper, where it's, you know, very kind of piney and I don't want to say basic, but just junipery. This has many levels, lots of lime and citrus tone to this, as well as kind of aromatics and wild white flowers. It's a really beautiful, expressive gin. And
Mm-hmm.
you might think, how could I ever send samples of all this? Because this is not cheap gin. But Jon sent us lots of these. So I do have these for sampling as well that I'd love to pass out and get more excitement about your gin. So this is cool. And what's that thing behind you that you just finished 2 weeks ago? I'm so excited. I don't even have a bottle of this. I can't wait to try it.
We're going to release it soon.
The vermouth.
The vermouth.
Wow.
So, you know, technically the vermouth is always a white wine filled with alcohol and sugar and botanicals.
Right.
So here we change the basic wine for our best Txakoli, the basic alcohol for our best gin. Then we change the sugar for grape must. And then all the botanicals, mainly from this vineyard.
So you used all of the best
yeah.
for this vermouth.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we did like, I don't know, during 2 years, we did like 180 different styles of vermouth. And finally, I don't know how to say, from Dama Juana, from Demijan.
Demijan, yeah.
Demijan, sorry. So from the number 3, we decided, all the team, to release this one.
And what
it will be in the market in coming weeks.
What is the thing dangling on its neck?
The thing is that this one in Spain, for, I don't know, for 1,000 bottles of vermouth, 999 are red vermouth and only 1 of white.
Oh.
But in some different markets, they drink more white than red.
Sure.
So after a few discussions here with the family and the team, we decided to do a white vermouth, which is coherent with our wines, and then some red vermouth, which is done with, it's the same vermouth, but with caramel and enoceanine. You know, enoceanine is the natural color of the grape skin.
Oh.
So from red grapes.
Anthocyanine, or cyanin. Yeah.
So enoceanine is the product, yeah.
Cool.
So it's, the good thing is that you can, like the perfect serve is this, the white one on the rocks, and then you add a few drops, and you can do your own rosé vermouth or your red vermouth, and as color changes, the flavor changes. So you can play a lot. You can have like a few different vermouths.
I love it. I love it, Jon. It's so cool. So much fun.
This is always comes for free with this one.
With that one.
And this, again, is very, we say alpine or Atlantic, very fresh.
Cool. I can't wait to taste it. Yeah, I need some very soon.
I'm sending you a few samples.
Okay, great. Jon, this has been fantastic. It's lovely to sit with you. 1, because I haven't seen you in a while, but 2, just to kind of use a different method of sales. So if you watching want to taste these wines, try some things out, please let me know, because I'd love to get samples in your hand for kind of the fall season. And really, Txakoli, sometimes people think for the summer, but this is much more gastronomic Txakoli. This is food Txakoli, and throughout the year, it has the body, but also the freshness. And even as these wines age, your white wine ages for so many years and still has so much life and quality to it. So let me know if you're interested. And Jon, thank you so much for your time. It's amazing to see you and see what you're doing, and your project is fantastic. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Brian. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. You'll take care.